The Dominion auction hall glittered with cruel light. Rows of seats stretched in tiers, filled with traders, merchants, and opportunists who had come from across the sectors to buy flesh. Beings of all shapes and colors sat with datapads ready, their voices hushed with the anticipation of bidding. On the stage, the auctioneer's voice boomed. Lot 119. A pair of Zyrrani sisters. Strong bloodline, young, capable. One, too soft to labor. The other, too wild to obey. A match set. Who will start the bidding at 500 credits? Gasps rippled through the crowd. The Zyrrani were a proud race once, their wings gleaming and spines sharp. But these two girls had been caught after their clan was broken in war, their futures reduced to numbers on a datapad. The elder sister, Lyra, stood trembling, her hands bound before her. Her wings drooped low, feathers dulled from captivity. She had always been gentle, too soft by Zyrrani standards, more healer than fighter. Now, that gentleness was twisted into weakness. Beside her, Kael, the younger, snarled, fangs bared. Her eyes flashed with defiance, her wings flared wide despite the restraints. She had clawed two guards before they dragged her on stage, earning whispers of "wild" from the crowd. But no hands rose. The auctioneer tried again. 400 credits. 2 for the price of 1. A bargain. Still silence. Buyers muttered excuses. The soft one won't survive labor. The wild one will never obey. Not worth the feed cost. Lyra's heart broke. She had prayed someone would see their worth, even if only to take Kael and let her live.
But no one wanted them.
They were the leftovers, the unwanted. The auctioneer's voice grew strained. 200. 100 credits. Come now. Surely someone. I'll bid. The hall turned. A human stood at the back, rising slowly to his feet. His clothes were plain, worn from travel, and his eyes carried the calm steadiness of someone who had seen more than most. The auctioneer blinked. Human, did you say? 100 credits, the man repeated firmly. For both. Murmurs filled the chamber. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, brash and impulsive. Why would one waste credits on the unworthy? But no counteroffer came. The gavel fell.
Sold.
Lot 119 goes to the human. Lyra's knees nearly gave out. Kael hissed in confusion. And the man, calm as stone, simply walked down the aisle to claim them. His name was Elias Kane. He led them out of the auction hall, past guards who smirked at his foolishness, past traders who muttered about wasted credits. Lyra kept her head bowed, shame burning in her chest. Kael tugged against her restraints like a caged beast. At the docking bay, Elias stopped. He looked at them not with disgust or pity, but with something strange, something almost like respect. You're free, he said simply. Lyra blinked. Free? I didn't buy you to own you, Elias said. I bought you so no one else could.
Kael spat. Lies.
All humans lie. Believe what you want, he said evenly. But the bonds come off now. And with a flick of his cutter, their restraints fell. Lyra rubbed her wrists, trembling. No master would do this. No buyer would throw away property. And yet this human had. Why? She whispered. Elias met her gaze. Because no one deserves to be treated like you were. The Iron Wanderer was not much to look at, a patched freighter with whining engines and a cluttered cargo bay, but to the sisters, it was the first place that did not smell of chains. Elias showed them to spare quarters. They're small, but yours. Lyra bowed her head, still overwhelmed. We have nothing to repay you with. He shrugged. Don't need payment. Just help around the ship if you feel like it. Kael crossed her arms, suspicious.
Why?
What do you gain? Company, Elias said simply, a faint smile tugging his lips. This universe is big. Gets lonely out here. The sisters exchanged a glance. For the first time since capture, Lyra felt the tiniest flicker of hope. Days passed aboard the Iron Wanderer. Lyra found purpose quickly, tidying, preparing meals, tending to the small hydroponic bay Elias kept in the cargo hold. She hummed softly when she worked, her hands gentle on the sprouting leaves. Elias would sometimes pause, listening, and smile to himself. Kael was harder. She bristled at orders, even when none were given, pacing the ship like a caged predator. Once, Elias caught her trying to pry open a hatch to steal an escape pod. You could run, he said quietly, watching her. But where would you go? She froze. You've got fire, Elias continued. That's not a weakness. It just needs a direction. She snarled at him, but she didn't pry the hatch again. One evening, they ate together in the galley. Lyra had cooked a stew rich with Zyrrani spices she had remembered from childhood. Elias tasted it and let out a low whistle. That's the best meal I've had in years. Lyra flushed. It is only food. No, he said firmly. It's care. It's life. He looked at her with warmth. You see beauty where others see burden. Her eyes stung. No one had ever said that to her before. Kael snorted from across the table. And what of me? Too wild, remember? Worthless. Elias leaned back, studying her. Wild isn't worthless. Wild is freedom. You just haven't learned to aim it yet. For once, Kael had no retort. Not all was peaceful. Weeks later, a pirate crew intercepted the Iron Wanderer. They demanded cargo or the Zyrrani girls. Elias stood firm, but the pirates pressed harder. Before Lyra could beg him not to risk himself, Kael erupted. She fought like fury, claws flashing, wings flaring. For every strike she missed, Elias was there beside her, steady, covering her back. Together, they drove the pirates away, battered but alive. Afterward, Kael slumped, panting. Elias clapped her shoulder.
See?
Not too wild. Just wild enough. Her throat tightened. For the first time, she smiled. Months turned into a new life. Lyra's gentleness filled the ship with warmth, meals, laughter, the soft humming of her voice as plants thrived under her care. Kael's wildness became strength, guarding them with claws and courage. And Elias, steady, stubborn Elias, was the anchor that held them all together. The galaxy might still sneer at Zyrrani exiles, might call them too soft or too wild. But aboard the Iron Wanderer, they were something else. They were family. Years later, in frontier colonies, people told stories of the human who had bought two unwanted Zyrrani sisters for a pittance, and instead of chaining them, gave them shelter. Of how the soft, one healed with her cooking and care, and how the wild, one fought with fire in her veins. The sisters never forgot the auction hall. The silence, the shame, the despair of being unwanted. But more than that, they never forgot the moment one human rose and said the words that saved them. I'll bid. And in that moment, they were no longer worthless. They were seen. They were free.